So, everybody, we have some good news to report after 1 day of vote counting of the Amazon New York City Union Drive. 1 day of vote counting. The yays are so far in the lead. 1,518 votes for yes to form a union, 1,154 votes no, do not form a union. So that's only after the first day of counting. The voting is done, but that is a very, very strong sign. In the Alabama vote last year, it was pretty clear from as soon as the count got started that the no's were going to win. So the good news is you're looking at a very, very promising first day of counting out of New York City. Again, we don't want to get too excited too quickly because it's only the first day of counting. There's more votes to count, but that's a very strong signal. Now, the bitter pill here has to do with Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez tweeting about this. And so let's have a look at this, shall we? All right. So AOC tweets out the big bicep displays there, the bicep emojis. The good news, 1,518 yes, 1,154 no. Okay, that's all well and good. Krystal Ball then responds.
There's what they call jumping out in front of a parade.
Well, you're not kidding. Krystal Ball responds, here's the guy who organized the union drive talking about how you left them high and dry, meaning Chris Smalls. He reached out to AOC, asked for her to come and show up. She never did. These are your constituents, and you couldn't be bothered to show up until they're on the cusp of victory. Now, AOC actually responds. This reminds me of the force to vote thing when she responded to Jimmy Dore and got that whole thing started.
She has a tendency to get herself into these things.
Well, here we go. The warehouse isn't in my district, and maybe you should look at a map before claiming so. One scheduling conflict aside, we have requested oversight investigations into Amazon, met with Amazon workers in the Woodside warehouses, and more. Hope you do more due diligence next time.
You know, Chris Smalls jumped on this further down.
Oh, he actually chimed into the exchange? Okay.
He did. He said,
well, I'll find it.
He said, you have constituents who travel to the Amazon warehouse. I know them.
Well, first of all, I mean, before we even get to that, I don't give a shit if the warehouse is in fucking Fairbanks, Alaska. If you are a progressive member of the House and you are a Democratic socialist and you are a champion of labor power, you show up. Doesn't matter where the fuck it is. To Bernie's credit, you know, and he was MIA this time too, unfortunately, but to Bernie's credit, he went down to the Alabama Union Drive last year. He didn't say, well, you know, that's not my state. You know, I'm in Vermont. It doesn't fucking matter.
He's always doing that.
Right. I mean, it doesn't matter where it is.
I don't know what the fuck he actually does in Vermont.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Seriously, like I never hear about anything that Bernie Sanders is doing in Vermont.
Jordan Cheriton chimes in. I was told by workers that your folks told them at last minute it was a security issue, not a scheduling conflict. Whether your district or not, you would think a New York congressman or woman could have tweeted support, particularly in final weeks, for one of the most important union drives in the U.S. She then says security was an issue as well. 2021 included a lot of high-level threats on my life, the January 6th thing now, which limited what activities I was able to do, especially those outside. Okay, so then have a Zoom interview with Chris Smalls, like do something. Engage in some other way. Right. The combination of that and when we were able to get resources and time to secure them, blah, 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 create scheduling conflicts. Krystal Ball, no security concerns at the Met Gala. That's a good comeback there. Now I'm looking for the Chris Smalls report here. There's so much.
You just missed it. You just missed it.
I'm scrolling back.
There he is.
Oh, okay. Here it is. AOC, that's terrible. Workers from your district definitely commute to Staten Island. I know them personally. Maybe you should do your due diligence. There you go. So he chimed in. Now, there was one other exchange that I screenshotted, and it hasn't been deleted. I'm not exactly sure where this came. You know how on Twitter, like, you know, sometimes, it's just kind of like hard to find the actual comments in the thread, especially if there's a ton of them, because it like prioritizes certain ones over certain other ones. But here was, I thought, a fairly revealing exchange here. Sorry if the font's a little small here. I just had to screenshot this off my phone. Krystal says not one member of the squad showed up. They all ghosted Chris. And this wasn't just another event. It was the most substantial worker-led organizing effort at one of the most powerful companies in the world. They all had excuses for all the many months of this organizing drive. That's true. This went on for a long time. This was not just a couple weeks. This has been going on for months and months. And here's AOC's comeback. So what exactly is the insinuation here? That we are secretly in the tank for Amazon, that we're quote unquote sellouts despite leading congressional investigations into Amazon, taking huge blowback to call out the scam HQ2 deal, meeting with workers in our district warehouses. It's reaching. First of all, look, I don't even know or care what the insinuation is. To me, there doesn't even have to be an insinuation. There is no insinuation. It's you should have been there. Sucks that you weren't there. That's it.
I honestly, because look, it is true. I mean, my interpretation is Cortez caught so much shit about standing against the Amazon HQ that she didn't want to take any more shit going after Amazon. I mean, that's the only thing I can think. I can't say the squad or AOC have been friendly to Amazon. This just doesn't make any sense. Did Mama Bear tell her, hey, you need to sit this one out? I don't know. It's not clear. It's something is going on here. It's not a security. That's bullshit. There's a reason she didn't get involved in this. And look, the things that she's saying are true in terms of the causes she's taken up. So why didn't she get involved in this? I don't know. Yeah,
especially when your brand is supposed to be movement politics. You're a movement candidate. It's one thing to push for, oversight investigations. That's a bureaucratic process. Better you do that than not do that. But this is where the people are at. Right. If you're down with the people, if you're a movement type leader, there is absolutely no fucking excuse in the world why you cannot be there. Yeah. Why you should not be there.
Yeah. It's absurd. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. And actually, what's the timeline on them pushing for investigations into Amazon? Because it definitely seems like they tamed AOC over the years. This is not the AOC who led a protest in Pelosi's office. This is not the AOC who understood better to be a one-term congressperson and just kamikaze that shit if you need to. She's not the same. And I have always, at the very least, said, look, she's very young, and I think she's trying to play an inside-outside game. And I don't think her motivations are corrupt. I don't think she's eyeing the big board seat she's going to have when she leaves Congress. I don't think it's anything like that. Nearest I can figure is, Mama Bear shows her pictures of her family in Puerto Rico and the address and shows we know where they live. I don't know, man. It seems like they lay a lot of backroom pressure on her, and she thinks that by not doing this, she's going to be able to put pressure somewhere else. But we just saw how that played out with the Build Back Better. Your inside outside game doesn't count for shit. It doesn't really accomplish anything. The only way that you can actually get anything done with the establishment is you got to get them scared of the people. That's the only time they ever give in on anything, when they're scared of the peasants storming the Tuileries.
Yeah, and that's happens very, very rarely.
And the only way that's going to happen is if you line up behind things like this. If your intention is actually to get things done, AOC of her first term, who said she was willing to be a first-term congressman, had it exactly right. Yeah, like, you need to be willing to be hated by these fucking people, and even to the point that maybe you'll only serve one term in Congress. Otherwise, what are you going to end up doing there?
She's very, very popular. She's world famous. she's still got the highest name ID of anyone in Congress. She could
Sure,
still raise a ton of money.
sure.
I mean, yeah, she's not very popular amongst people like us anymore, but she can still win a primary very, very easily. I mean, they tried to come at her. She won what, 80-20. So she's not going to lose her seat. She's not going to lose her seat anytime soon, really, no matter what she does. And she is acting like a congresswoman who knows that, by the way. And she's saying, well, okay, I can afford to take some shit from the movement that put me here. And it's very, very disappointing thing to see, because you're right. I mean, she has to show up. I mean, there's no excuse for a candidate like her and a politician like her not to be at this union drive. And it could make a big difference. I mean, look, we talked in a segment that we did last week about why a lot of these union drives fail. A lot of these union drives fail, and knock on wood, we're hoping this one doesn't. The first day of counting looks very, very good. But one of the reasons these union drives fail is because these workers feel like no one's got their back when they go up against the boss. They cross the boss, they're putting themselves out there. Who has their back? The only people who have their back are their fellow workers, which is the whole point of labor organizing. That's what we call it, labor organizing. But it makes a massive difference. I mean, what a massive shot in the arm. What wind at their back they would feel if the most famous congressperson in America came and supported them and said, vote yes.
Yeah.
And if it fails by a narrow margin, it could very well be because they found no institutional support like that.
Yeah, I mean, Bernie, I don't know why he wasn't there, but he's earned the benefit of the doubt because he does always show up to these things, no matter where they are. So, maybe he's a little busy as the, Senate.
Even him, the fact that this went on for so long, it makes it very troubling. It is
troubling, but the man has earned the benefit of the doubt that there was a compelling reason. But AOC has not, especially with the choices that she's been making over the last couple of years. She is certainly, I've been sympathetic to her, and I still am sympathetic. She's, I mean, for me, at my age, she's a kid. She's a kid thrown in with these fucking vicious reptiles that, like Nancy Pelosi, trying to figure out how to navigate that. So, I sympathize in that sense, but yeah, they broke her, man. They broke her. It's not the same. And you can see by how defensive she is in that Twitter stream.
Well, that's the thing.
She knows it. She knows it.
She knows it. And she got defensive and sassy with, her own base. I mean, you don't fucking tell your own, but look at a map. Oh, look at a map. So, okay. I mean, if that's your answer, tell people, look at a map. The warehouse isn't in my district. I guess no one who lives outside of your district should send you a dime when it comes to campaign season. Why should I write a check to you? I live in the 18th district, not your district. Why should anybody, I mean, you had people come from all around the country to volunteer for her in her first run. Why should they consider this? I mean, it's an absurd point. It's an absurd point. And the whole point about what's the insinuation is also an absurd point. Just take the knock on the chin. This is a major strike against you that you did not show up to this. There doesn't have to be a larger theory about why you didn't do it. It sucks you didn't do it. And people who put you in office have the right to tell you it sucks you didn't do it without you snapping back at them, go look at a map. I mean, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. There's no excuse.
Well, that reminds me of Nancy Pelosi, actually. That's like a more cogent Nancy Pelosi kind of a response. Well, I was a little busy doing the business of the people. So it's like a less broken Android version of a Nancy Pelosi response.
Yeah, exactly.
I think every time the squad tweets or gives a speech, we should respond with Michael Madsen in Kill Bill 2. You're about as useful as an asshole right here.
you could do the Reservoir Dogs line too, the real famous one. The, you're gonna bark all day, little doggy, or you're gonna bite.
Yeah.
That would work too. All right, we'll cut our YouTube clip there, I guess. But yeah, I mean, look, so far the vote is the votes are looking good. I mean, that's an amazing first day of counting.
That's amazing, man, and that is a tremendous victory for Chris,
Yeah.
and especially the way that they treated him. That is
Mhm.
that is an amazing. If it indeed comes out that way, that's an amazing outcome and an amazing testament to his determination to get this done. I mean, to create a new union, not even folding into one of the older unions,
Yeah,
service
the
workers union,
ALU,
something to,
what they're calling it.
yeah, to actually create an Amazon labor union and pull it off. Wow, that's if this really snowballs through the Amazon warehouses, it's going to make Chris Smalls one of the great labor leaders in American history, literally.
Yeah, absolutely.